Let me ask you something. Have you ever had one of those days where you wake up and you tell yourself, today is gonna be different. Today, I'm gonna be extremely grateful and I'm gonna be positive throughout the entire day. And then by like 10 a.m., something small happens that really pisses you off. Maybe someone cut you off in traffic or you spilled your coffee, whatever it was. But then just like that, the positivity is out the window and you're in a bad mood for the rest of the day. And then the worst part is that you feel like there's something wrong with you. Like, why can everyone else stay positive and not me? But I have some very good news for you because I was just like you. And in today's video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to fix this problem. Because if you're like me, you've probably already watched 1,000 of these positivity videos and none of them have worked. And there's actually a reason for that because it has nothing to do with how motivated you are. It also surprisingly has nothing to do with your mindset. It's actually something way simpler than that, and I'm gonna show you exactly what it is. Okay, so how many of you have tried that whole gratitude journal thing? If you've tried it, let me know in the comments down below. Now, if you did, I'm assuming you bought a very nice looking notebook because I know I did. Actually, let me show you mine. Just look at this. This looks beautiful. Anyway, you took this beautiful looking notebook and you wrote down 3 things you're grateful for every morning. You did it for like 2 weeks and nothing changed. You still get pissed off at the exact same things. And then eventually you just put the notebook away and it just collects dust for the rest of its eternal life. Okay, so you tried the gratitude journal thing, it failed, and now you move on to affirmations. You stand in front of a mirror like this and you say, I am grateful, I am abundant, I am positive. And the whole time your brain is just going, no, you're not. So none of this shit really worked for you, right? But here's the thing that nobody tells you. You weren't failing because you're a negative person, and you weren't failing because you lack discipline or willpower. You were failing because you were trying to build something without actually training for it. And let me explain what I mean with a story. So imagine this huge bodybuilder walks into an archery shop. He's got muscles literally everywhere. He's got even more muscles than me. He walks up to the counter and he points to the most powerful bow they have on the wall and he says, I want that one. The woman behind the counter, who's a very small woman by the way, she says, have you ever shot a bow before? The bodybuilder just laughs and says, give me the bow. She says, okay, but this one has a 60-pound draw weight. It's one of the heavier ones. The bodybuilder's like, 60 pounds? Are you serious? I can bench 450, just give me the bow. So she hands it to him, he picks it up, puts his fingers on the string, and starts trying to pull it back, and he can barely move it. Like genuinely cannot pull it back more than a couple of inches. This guy who benches 450 cannot pull a 60-pound bowstring. So he goes, you gave me the wrong one. This just can't be right. So without saying a word, the small woman behind the counter picks up the exact same bow, pulls the string all the way back in one smooth motion like it's nothing, and hands it back to him. The bodybuilder just leaves the store completely embarrassed. Now you're probably like, okay Sharif, that's a great little story, but why the hell are you telling me this? Well, you see, this guy was clearly not weak, he was very strong. But he had never trained the specific muscles you need for archery. Those muscles barely get used in real life. So no matter how strong the rest of his body was, those particular muscles were at 0. And staying positive works the exact same way. You see, gratitude is a muscle and most people have never ever trained it. So whenever life gets a little difficult and you try to stay positive, you're basically that bodybuilder trying to pull the bowstring. You're reaching for a muscle that isn't there yet. And then you feel bad about yourself for not being able to do it, and that just makes things even worse. But here's what's kind of wild. The reason most people have not trained this muscle is because they've been doing the wrong exercise the whole time. So for example, writing down stuff that you're already grateful for, that's like doing bicep curls when you need to be training your back. It's not useless, but it's definitely not the right thing. You see, the actual exercise, the one that builds the muscle, is finding something to be grateful for inside a frustrating moment. Not after it, not when you feel better, but right in the middle of it. That's the hard rep. That's what actually builds the muscle. Think about it like this. If you want to get stronger, you don't lift weights forever. You progressively add resistance. The resistance is what causes the growth. You see, your frustrating moments are the resistance. They're not getting in the way of your growth. They're actually the growth opportunity every single time. Now here's where it gets very interesting, because most of the gratitude advice out there tells you to be thankful for the good stuff. Maybe it's your family, maybe it's your health, maybe it's the roof over your head. And look, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You should be grateful for that stuff. But if you only practice gratitude when things are already going well, You're basically only going to the gym on the days you already feel good, which means the moment life gets hard, you have nothing. Like, the whole point of training is to build something you can use when it gets difficult. Now, to highlight this point, I want to tell you about a story about these two sisters in a Nazi concentration camp. Now, I know it sounds extremely depressing, but you gotta stay with me because it's one of the most powerful examples of this concept I've ever heard of. So these two women are in one of the worst places you can ever imagine. And when they arrive at their barracks, they find that the whole place is infested with fleas. So one sister is understandably losing it. She's like, I can't be grateful for fleas. There's nothing good about fleas. This is just too much. The other sister says, let's just be grateful for them and see what happens. And the first sister thinks she's lost her mind. But you see, months later, they find out something. The guards actually refused to enter their barracks because of the fleas, which meant these two women were able to read and share their Bible with other prisoners every single night without anyone stopping them. And it was all because of the fleas. The thing that looked like the worst part of their situation was actually the best thing. Now, I'm not saying that your bad days are secretly blessings in disguise in some cheesy way. Sometimes things are just hard, and that's the whole story. But there's almost always something useful, something real, something you can actually work with inside a difficult moment. But that's only if you've trained yourself to look for it. Okay, so practically speaking, how do you actually do this? Because I really don't want this to be one of those videos where you feel inspired for like 20 minutes, but then just forget about it by dinner. So here's the actual process. It's just 4 steps, and you can do the whole thing in like 30 seconds once you get used to it. Step 1 is to notice the frustration. You don't suppress it, and you don't try to pretend like it's not there. When something annoying happens, just say to yourself, okay, I'm angry right now. That's it. Most people skip this step because they either explode immediately or they stuff it down. Both of these things will definitely not work. You need to pause and say, yep, this is really annoying. So then we're ready to move on to step 2, where we look for something real inside it. Not something fake, not some toxic positivity bullshit, but something genuinely real. So let's say, God forbid, your car breaks down. That's genuinely annoying. But you can also look at it this way. You have a car, you have a phone to call someone, you're not stranded somewhere dangerous. Those are all real things. Let's say your kid is driving you absolutely crazy and it's making you so mad. Well, they're alive and they're healthy. The key with this step is not to pretend like the frustration isn't there. You're just refusing to let it be the only thing in the frame. Step number 3 is that you actually have to feel it. This is the step everyone skips, but it's probably the most important one. You see, there's a massive difference between thinking, I should feel grateful, and actually feeling grateful. You know that feeling when someone does something genuinely kind for you out of nowhere? That warm feeling that happens in your chest? That's what we're going for, not a thought, but an actual feeling. It takes like 5 extra seconds, but I just want you to sit in it for a moment. And then for step number 4, let that feeling carry you forward. You'll notice after you do this, something shifts. Not dramatically, not like a movie moment. Just subtly, you'll feel a little lighter, a little less reactive, a little more like yourself. And that's the fuel. That's what keeps you going until the next hard thing shows up, and then you do it again. Now look, I want to be completely honest with you. This isn't something you do once and then you're fixed forever. That's not how muscles work. You don't go to the gym one time and then come out looking like a beast. This is something you practice in small moments over and over until it starts to become how you actually operate. The frustrating moments don't go away. I'm not going to promise you that. But your relationship to them will definitely start to change. And that change compounds over time in a way that's actually kind of hard to describe until you felt it. The person who can stay grounded when things go sideways, that's not someone who has a better life than you. That's someone who's trained a specific muscle that most people don't even know exists. And you can build that. You can absolutely build that. But you have to start with the small stuff. The spilled coffee, the slow driver in front of you, that email your boss sent you. Those are your reps, so do not waste them.